Everybody, welcome back to this episode of Think Business. I'm looking forward to talking with Hope Lutz Firsel. Did I pronounce that right?
You got it.
I thought so. Okay, I just want to make sure. Your business, guiding women through life's unexpected. I'm going to read what's on your website because it's so beautifully said. Cancer, infertility, divorce. Life is full of unexpected, painful crises. And these are just three I've walked through personally along my own journey. Although your story may differ from mine, I know what it's like to feel powerless in the face of change. But I survived by having a plan to preserve my soul, protect my spirit, and maintain my dignity. Hope, I appreciate you taking time to be here today and talk about your business, your journey. I want to zoom in, and what I love about what you're sharing here is, one, I believe in so many ways that we teach our pain, and that in many ways it can become our business. But I really want to kind of, zoom into how you talk about preserving your soul, because I think that has just so much depth behind it. And so when you say that, like, just kind of give some context of that.
Well, I think when I have been coaching and consulting, whether it's business leaders going through change or women reframing how they're going to create their family, or cancer survivors or patients, they all need to first and foremost become clear with who they are and who they want to be in the face of this. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I have to offer from not just my academics, but from my experience.
Yeah.
Is that becoming centered and clear with who you are inside and who you want to be in the face of this. That's the only thing we have control over.
Yeah.
And it's so critical. So I like to say that we tap into our spirit, get centered, face those fears, because a lot of the fears come from previous experiences in life, often from even our childhood. Acknowledge where that pain comes from, and then have a vision for where you're going to go moving forward.
Yeah.
And as a coach, we ideally meet once a week to be able to make sure we're aligned, well aligned with our goals and our intentions.
Yeah. Let's talk about, I like what you're talking about as far as getting centered. I think the difference between person A and person B is how quickly person A can get centered versus person B.
Yeah.
And so as a coach, what tools are you giving people to get them back to center? I specialize in business, so getting back to center in business is a lot easier, I think, than getting back to center as you're fighting cancer or going through divorce or infertility. I actually am also a cancer survivor, so I know what that's like and how difficult it is to get back to center when going through radiation or waiting on a CAT scan or waiting on blood work, years after, et cetera, et cetera. So can you just kind of talk on that piece?
Yeah, I mean, from my experience, every single individual, just like every business, is unique. So what does centered mean for them and how are they going to get there is up to the individual. So first, by becoming mindful, which I usually will do a few minutes of guided meditation before we get into the guts of our strategy and our plan, to really tap into what's important to me and my well-being in this moment. And I would say that when I had 5 years of infertility, I was very frazzled. When I was fighting for my life and had cancer, specifically chemo that left me really, really in bed almost for 10 months, you get to be able to literally just focus on the mind and finding gratitude there. And so for me, I'm able to tap in pretty quickly on what does this individual need in order to help them stay mindful, stay the course, and have grace and dignity throughout the process.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. I'm sorry that it was that was challenging. I've watched so many people go through what you went through, and I love seeing you, here today, healthy and doing amazing things.
Thank you.
I want to talk about meditation for a minute and your, you know, thoughts on meditation and the importance of meditation, not only what it does for the mind, but, you know, the soul, the nervous system, you know, et cetera.
Yeah. From my experience, we make it into a big thing, and if it has to be an activity every day in a certain spot, that works for some people. But if all of us have the tools, you can get mindful with your breath in just 1 minute. And if you can do that before a big meeting or before you're about to get your results on cancer or fertility, and for me, I would know that the other people in the room, like at the time, my husband at the time, or my mom or dad, like I really wanted to get that news and be able to shoulder it, because I felt I was an example, or waiting for the pregnancy test and getting the negative after 5 years. I really had to dig deep. And so I found time for me to build that muscle. And so each individual has to find a time and a way to get there. Now I can do it in the pickup line before I'm getting my boys. I like to walk. I do yoga. It doesn't have to be as regimented as I think I thought originally. But once you learn the skill, especially in today's world where the sensory overload, the content, information, and with my boys, we really focus on just the deep breaths, because I really did learn that when I was very ill, was finding gratitude in the breath. And it's the first thing you do when you enter this world, and it's the last on your way out. So I think learning some breath techniques is so crucial for helping the mind get back to its real desires.
Yeah. I've been meditating since my late 20s. And I would say there isn't a day that goes by that I don't meditate. And some days, like you said, it's not traditional. It may just be a minute here or a minute there, but it's a game changer. It's a game changer.
I think if the world all learned how powerful our minds are and the stories that it tells itself, if we could all break through and really understand it's a computer, it's a technology, and it's putting in lenses based on your history. And I think when you meditate, you have an opportunity to work through all that noise and get back into your inner self.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, because as a coach, some of the one-on-one support that you provide is inner child work, right? And then moving to action steps and attainable goals. But let's talk about some of, you're talking about inner work, and let's talk about, and you mentioned it earlier. Talk about the inner work, the inner child work that you do with clients. And first, maybe define it for somebody who doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, thank you for that. Because it actually has some connotations, and what I'm really trying to voice there is what I've learned from my psychology degree and my coaching degree, is that whether we call it a gremlin or your past wounds or your childhood, the history is going to shape the glasses that you wear as you move through a situation. So being able to go back to those wounds, those traumas, and look them in the eye and say, thank you for how it served me. Oftentimes those techniques were for survival, and now I'm an adult, and now I'm safe, and now I need to, I get the opportunity to reframe that past work so that now I can move forward stronger and more equipped to deal with trauma.
Yeah. So I want to talk about reframing a little bit. Sometimes I ask people, can you change the past? And many people say, if I'm talking to clients, they say, no, you can't change the past. I say, well, actually you can if you change your perspective. And so one of the things, I'm 50, I've been in therapy since I was 25. You think one thing, you get into therapy, and then you're like, oh, wait, all of a sudden new lenses begin to really pop up, Hope. And so just kind of talk about that, how we really do have the power to reframe and transform and evolve our perspective on things, right?
Yeah. It's such a beautiful thing because it can be, 10 years of therapy and then within a minute, and you can get that pivot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get it in a moment, but there are lessons that are coming to you and you just haven't quite got it. But when you get it and you realize I can be the author of my own story. So how do I want to tell that story? What did I learn from that experience, the past? What did I learn from it about who I want to be and who I don't want to be, who I want to be around and who I don't, what I want to read, what I don't. And so we use the past as a tool. And I, in my 47 years, have been through such trauma. I think that I'm able to look at this experience with more depth than perhaps a typical 47-year-old. After you face death,
Yeah.
you learn what's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing, your journey and how you're helping, taking what was so devastating and making, other people's lives easier. I love that. I want to talk a little bit about, and you've mentioned a couple of times, working with people to focus on who they want to be, and how you do that and kind of keep the burden of an ego from getting in the way.
I think, working through the ego is the journey that we're all on, I think, because after a certain age, once you become socialized, it's there. That's just what we're taught about what's right, what's wrong, what makes success, what doesn't, what's going to fill me up. And as humans, we're constantly going to have to readdress what ego we want to put forth. But when we get really clear, you lose the need for that ego to fit and you become more open to letting it flow. And so I think even when I'm working with women with infertility, for instance, how do we let go of the vision of how I'm going to create the family and be more in flow with I'm going to have a family, and giving up exactly how that would look.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
And same with cancer. My body is now failing me in a certain way. And how am I going to support it? Acknowledge that and realign to move forward stronger.
Yeah.
And more equipped to be the best advocate for ourselves that we can be.
Yeah. I love what you're talking about. Really just the power of self-talk and how we're talking to ourselves, and, to work with somebody like you who's going through just such difficult things, to, even changing a word or a sentence around can really make a big, big difference. Before we move into a quick speed round, I want to chat about something that's been kind of a through line of what you've been talking about, which is the power of gratitude. You shared earlier, you were in bed and you were sick for 10 months, but gratitude was something that really helped you.
Yeah.
I have found that over the course of the last couple of months, I keep a gratitude journal and I write one thing that I'm grateful for the day. And I do it every morning. Yeah. And it really is a game changer. And because it's the little thing. So can you talk about the power of gratitude and how to really execute on it?
I have so many examples of it, but one that's very profound for me was when I would be receiving my chemotherapy, I put a sticker on the chemo bag that would say gratitude or thank you for healing me, or, trying to really, and the nurses sometimes laugh and say, you don't have to push it here, but like you're about to put something in your body that's going to make you feel like, close to death, but it's saving your life. So finding gratitude in that. And when you're really sick, you learn that gratitude is opening your eyes in the morning.
Yeah.
It may not be, for me, my dream of being a full-time mom at that time, that, I became a full-time patient. So, but I found gratitude in the times I was with my kids at home in bed and snuggling, a lot of snuggling.
Yeah.
And gratitude in that. So it can be very difficult. And that's where the ego comes in a lot, and when you see what you think is going on in other people's worlds, it's important that we stay true and mindful on what's happening within our own story and what we can control.
Yeah. When I love that. Thank you for sharing that. What you do is such soulful work and so important to help so many people who are in front of you. I think we have a mutual friend in Johnny Immerman, who, when I was diagnosed with testicular cancer 20 years ago, he was the first person that called me and mentored me through that. So I knew what to expect, and I knew, what was in front of me.
Yeah.
And so, he is a trailblazer. You are a trailblazer to help those that are behind you, to help them with their journey. So the work you do is so special, Hope, and I'm so glad to see you, having this amazing business, helping so many people, healthy, and it's great to have you on Think Business. So I appreciate it. Tell everybody, and you've mentioned this a couple of times, but tell everybody who your ideal clients are and how they can connect with you.
Sure. I work with women going through the unexpected, particularly focused right now on helping women who are facing infertility. I am launching Zoom groups, which my clients are really excited about, only for women, and it's an hour once a week, and women who are going through perhaps IVF at the same time, or expecting a surrogate mother, or struggling with a miscarriage. Finding the community is a great way to stay accountable to your goals. So I'm really enjoying that.
Great.
So I'm one-on-one as well, and I work virtually or in person if you're in the Chicagoland area. And I'm at hopeforsell.com.
I love it. Hope, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking time. Congratulations on your business. Think community. If Hope can help you, please reach out. And if you know anybody that Hope can help, please forward her information or this podcast to somebody that you know could really use these words right now and Hope's help. Hope, thanks a ton. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you, and congratulations on everything.
Thank you. Thank you for the honor.